We have set up a Patreon. We have set up a Patreon.
Patreon, however you want to say it.
A Patreon. We have set up a Patreon.
What that does is that just helps us get things like train tickets, petrol
Yeah.
for you. And it helps us get to bigger and better guests. We'll be doing cool little things on there, like
Nice little giveaways.
You can put in your questions, and then we can talk to you. So yeah, please go on to
www.patreon.com/overrated everything.
We are back, episode 4.
Well, this is the thing. We started calling the episodes like episode 1, 2, 3 again.
Yeah.
But I've just put them out as like 18, 19, 20.
Really? You
so
are a fool.
Yeah. Like Moisey, have it till the end of the season.
You had a waste of time.
Oh, Giggsy in it.
Good
Giggsy,
night.
have it.
Give it Giggsy.
So, this is episode 21.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah, which
21
is...
slash episode 4 of series 2.
Well, yeah, but again, I think it's just all one series. I've not even put it as series 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read something that it's better to just do that.
I feel like we've lied to the listeners now.
Sorry, guys, it is episode 21, which is I like that because it means that we've I mean that's a better number, 21. That's 21 podcasts we've done, which is amazing. We've almost been doing this a year now because the first 2 interviews that we did were
interviews or
sorry, I've done
chats.
The first 2 chats that we did were before the World Cup last year, weren't they? So that would have been
because we were sort of pondering, weren't we, whether to put them out, and I said obviously wait until after the World Cup.
So,
I remember we had this massive thing last year during the World Cup. Swimming with Men was released, and we were saying like, don't release that film during the World Cup because nobody wants to be in the cinema whilst the World Cup's on.
I mean, I do.
Lo and behold, well, you do, yeah. But lo and behold, it did quite not terribly in the cinema, but it's doing a lot better now on Netflix. It's on Netflix, by the way, if you want to go watch it.
And what a World Cup as well, I guess. If we were out in the first round,
if we didn't make it through the groups,
that's the one I was looking for. Then maybe but we did all right, didn't we?
Yeah, we did amazingly. But it's put a lot of pressure on us now, which was why we did so well this time, I think, because there was no pressure. But it's put a lot of pressure on us now for the Euros. So, but I mean, we've got a young, exciting squad.
Yeah,
so I think we'll do good. But anyway, that's not what the podcast.
This is not a football podcast, guys. No. I mean, we could do a good football podcast. It'd just be you saying stuff and me going,
me most weeks.
Yeah.
So we're back again.
We are
episode 4, and we've got a bit of a different guest this week, isn't it?
We've got a fellow podcaster. We've both been on his podcast.
Yeah. He got in touch with me on Twitter and said, would you be interested in me coming to Grimsby and doing an episode of his podcast, which is called Life in the Stocks, which, again, like Overrated, everything's available on all top podcast streaming apps, and it was a great little chat, to be fair. And I remember we were talking about this in the car on the way to London just now. When he said, can I come to your house and do it, and I was like, nah, you're a random guy off Twitter, mate. I don't think I want you around my house. So we sat in my wife's car down the seafront, and probably I think one of the hottest days of summer, and absolutely just melted, because we got to close the windows because of the atmos, and we just melted for an hour. But it was good, and he was a top guy. We had a couple of pints after, and then he got in touch with you, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he got in touch with me not long after, because I think my episode went out just after yours, so I don't think it was too much after. And same thing, got in touch on Twitter, and he was like, do you fancy doing it? And I think we were just about to release this. I think we released this around about the time, the first episode of this, around the time that our episodes went out on that. Matt Stocks, we've not mentioned his name, is the guest today. Like you say, top bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, lovely bloke, yeah. Spot on. Yeah, I really like him. He's a pretty genuine guy. He's no bullshit. He's really educated in terms of film and television. He's got a massive passion for film.
Yeah. In this interview, when he's talking about film, sometimes it was the football thing in his chat. Sorry, I was just kind of going, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot that he was talking about, and I was like, dude, I've never seen this.
We should be the ones who know more about film, being in the fuckers.
Yeah.
We're
too busy making them instead of watching them.
That's it, mate. That's it. I bet Picasso didn't go to many art galleries. Probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went and met in Birmingham.
Solihull,
near Birmingham. Very nice area.
Beautiful
area.
Yeah, really, really nice area. It was handy for us. My brother lives in Birmingham. He lives in Sutton, so it's not far at all. I love Birmingham anyway, so any excuse to go there. So it's probably one of my favourite cities.
Yeah, and guys, we are happy to announce that you did that. You people who listen to this podcast, and especially you people who donate to our Patreon. You guys are the reason that we've left the north for the first time on the podcast.
Yeah, this is the first time out. It's our first podcast out of.
We went to Stephen, and he lives Midlandy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So okay, so yeah, but
still north of where we are now.
Yeah, exactly. So we happy to report that we recorded this episode with Matt Stocks in Solihull, and now we are in the beautiful capital city of London, where we've got a fucking really exciting weekend.
Yeah, we've got a great weekend. We've got a nice little B&B, haven't we?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
It's the atmos that you can hear. If you can hear a bit of roads, it is because we are in London.
That is the city of London.
Yeah, we've got a blanket that we've put.
It's very glam. We'll put a photo up on Instagram so you can see it.
On a bookcase. I hope the Airbnb host doesn't see it.
But no, we took a long drive, didn't we? I drove to Birmingham. You got the train, and then onwards to down to London.
Yeah.
But you said on the car on the way down, didn't you? Like, who are you most excited for? And some of the guests that we've got, man, are like amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant guests.
Matt Stocks' subject is Hollywood remakes.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed quite a few bits in there with Matt. But what we have been doing, which we forgot because we've had a busy day, is a new segment to the podcast, is giving a few facts.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we'll take a little pause while we get some facts for you. We're straight back,
just like that.
Just dead quick. Sorry about that little pause there, guys. So a couple of little factoids about Hollywood remakes.
We've just learnt a mental one, by the way.
Yeah, yours is good. Is good. Mine's a bit of the silly side. So I Googled Hollywood remakes and got Bollywood remakes with a B. Which Bollywood's massive, by the way. Like billions and billions of pound industry.
Yeah.
So
it's the biggest film. It's other than America, is it? It's Bollywood.
I don't know.
I think they might have the biggest film industry. I
think like it's massive. It's pretty big, isn't it? Like they just churn out. Film after film, a lot of music.
Same
kind
with
of stuff.
China as well. Obviously, with the population, there's a massive amount of films that get produced.
Yeah, and a lot of this is a fact that we've not researched, but a lot of films in China and TV shows get censored quite a lot. So apparently, Game of Thrones is censored very heavily in China because they don't really allow nudity and stuff.
Well, that's boring, isn't
it? So there's scenes where basically all they do, if there's a character nude, they'll just zoom into the face and just have a shot just looks dead random. Yeah.
I mean, Emilia Clarke's face is very beautiful to look at as well. So that's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bollywood made a remake of Mrs. Doubtfire.
All right.
That's got bike stunts and kinky stuff.
Oh.
What they stole from Hollywood, obviously there are hundreds and hundreds of comedies about men dressing up as old ladies in the world, but the similarities between, and this is the film, it's called Chache 420, and Mrs. Doubtfire are too much to be a coincidence. They're both about a divorced father who resorts to pretending to be an elderly nanny to be with their children again. So I love Mrs. Doubtfire. That's probably one of my favourite films from a kid. So I might give that a look out. So there is a Bollywood version of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Well, there you go.
Yours outdoes this.
Well, mind you, I saw a little photo and I just Googled it, and then I saw that Scarface, obviously the Al Pacino classic, Say Hello to My Little Friend, is in fact a remake, and original. The original one was out in 1932, going by the same name, directed by a guy called Howard Hawks. Now on here it's saying obviously the original version wasn't nearly as scandalous or as raunchy as the...
Can imagine it being the 30s. It'd be a bit more reserved.
A bit more reserved. And yeah, I mean, I just thought that kind of blew my mind.
That's crazy, isn't it? Because it's such an iconic film, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's something I never knew anyway. I wonder if Matt Stocks knew about it, because he seems to know a lot.
He probably does.
I might send it to him.
So yeah, there's our little facts.
Yeah.
We'll drop you straight into the interview with Matt now.
Chat.
Tough. Sorry, roll the chat. So we're here with Matt Stocks. Obviously, we just probably chatted about him in the intro. And he's prepared us a delicious selection of biscuits.
Yeah, which for me, trying to diet.
Throwing a right old spanner in the works, haven't I?
Away from me, that'll be spot on. Cheers, mate.
So this is the selection here. Andy's favourites. Nice.
Yeah.
Which, I'm going to be honest, seem a little bit cheap because I opened the packet and half of them just crumbled in my hands as I did.
Yeah, mate. I'm from Wythenshawe, right? So it's cheap and cheerful. No, I tell you why I like them. I had a maths teacher once who was from Australia. Apparently they're Australian biscuits, I don't know. But she just brought a pack in one day and was like, "These are great biscuits." Turn your phone off.
That's how I was thinking of my boss.
Put your mic a little bit closer as well, T. So I was always like, "Oh, okay," and I just liked him from then. She was a great teacher as well.
Tomo's favourites here, the hobnob.
I live, this is how the other half live, mate.
Yeah, hobnobs.
Biscuit and chocolate, come on now.
It's got actual oats in it.
Yeah.
Wow, you fucking rich man.
And then these are my wild cards. These, I think, are the best biscuits on the market.
They
Fox's Chunky Cookie. So you've got cookie and basically the best side of the hobnob.
Can tell someone lives in Solihull.
It's
That's
also
right. The hoi polloi.
It's also my nickname for my wife, that.
Is it really?
Chunky Cookie. No, it's
And this is the full wild card. Do you remember these?
Yes, mate.
Trios, mate.
Yeah.
Trio. I want a trio and I want one now. So dig in. Obviously, you're on a diet, so I apologise in
I'm
advance.
just trying not to be a greedy pig.
Which one do you reckon out of them four are going to be the best for dunking? Mine's out of the window. Mine are shit for dunking.
Yeah,
you have
because
to
it's
be really
break
quick.
and you've got to fish them out the
But
bottom.
that's why I've got the reflexes of a Jedi cat.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's.
I don't know. I'm going to say Matt's are probably a safe bet. For
Mine are
dunking.
probably the best for dunking. I obviously can't dunk because I've got ginger tea, so that would be all
that's
kinds of
weird,
wrong.
That is. No, I mean, you know. Again, Solihull.
He's just he sat it down next to me. He put his cup down next to me and went, "That's the ginger one." I was like, "You cheeky prick!"
Oh yeah, I didn't even make that connection.
Nice one, strawberry blonde.
You're not even ginger, though.
I know,
not even slightly.
I know.
Hey, dude, I'll let you into a secret. I have a big soft spot in my heart for redheads. Amy Adams, I think, is the most beautiful woman
she's fit. Yeah.
on this earth, and one of the best actresses I think that's ever lived.
She was
She is amazing.
she was in The Fighter.
She was in. The first film I saw her in
The Fighter
was
or
the
what?
princess film. What's it called? Enchanted or something?
Yeah, it's a brilliant film.
And she
actually.
broke my heart. And then after that, I saw her in The Fighter, and I was like,
Yeah.
what range?
She's amazing.
Yeah,
Incredible.
She is really good. She is really good.
You won't kick her out of bed for fighting, would you?
Certainly would not. Nicole Kidman, another beautiful
biscuit
redhead.
crumbs under the
Isla
pillows.
Fisher, just listing off all
Isla
the
Fisher,
redheads.
yeah. Who else? What's I like her
Reese
because I'm a big
Witherspoon
Doctor
for
Who
me.
fan. Catherine, is it Karen Gillan? Karen Gillan.
I thought you were going to say Catherine Tate.
No.
I've also got a soft spot for her.
Really?
I'm a bit partial to a bit of
nice.
Catherine Tate, yeah.
No, Karen
Am I
Gillan.
bothered?
Not one
Come to
bit.
Grimsby, there's loads of them, mate.
I've been. I didn't see any. I'll have to come back. So how you boys doing? Thanks for coming round to my mother's abode.
Yeah.
Mate,
You know what,
I
as we was driving around, we were saying how nice it is around here. Because I said to Matty, and I don't even know why I thought this, I said, he said, oh, he lives in Solihull. I said, oh, it's a bit stabby around there, mate. And then I rang my brother who lives in Sutton, not far from here. And I said, oh, Solihull's a lot nicer than I thought. He was like, am I right in thinking, is it the Beck or something? What's it called? Driving through from Birmingham Airport to Solihull, you drive through a really rich area.
Catherine de Barnes.
Catherine de Barnes,
Yeah.
which is the most expensive place in England to live outside of London. Is
Is
that
it
right?
really? Well, Lapworth is an area about 2 miles from here, and that's sort of the haven for a lot of celebrities. Everybody from Tony Iommi, from Black Sabbath. Casper Jarrett
Yeah,
is
he
also
lives
there.
out
Yeah,
there,
him and
yeah.
Tony.
Jasper Garrett.
Casper Jarrett.
You've also said Jasper Jarrett.
Him and Tony
Oh, yeah.
Iommi used to come into the pub that I worked at together, along with Andy Gray, Steve Townsend, and the guy who presents on Midlands Today News, whose name I forget, Nick something. And there's a little crew of them.
Yeah.
But there is a
He
few
said that
areas
a lot of
around
the
here.
West Brom and the Villa players and that all live around there and stuff.
Yep.
So I couldn't have been further away from.
Well, no, there are a few rough areas. Chelmsley Wood is probably the
You
more...
need to be careful because if there's any listeners who are going to get...
Yeah, but if they live there, they know. They know it's rough.
They're in the midst of it. No, I quite like it because I've only
nice,
ever really
yeah.
been to sort of the centre of Birmingham. And, you know, like the Bull Ring and that, which actually walking through there today, I've gone, oh, it's quite nice. It's a bit
Bull
like
Ring's
Liverpool
amazing. I love the
Yeah,
Bull
but I
Ring.
mean, it's not a nice building, is it? That Bull
What?
Ring.
The Bull Ring? Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's like renowned for being a big concrete mess. Or what?
It's,
it was
I
at
don't
one
think it's
point, wasn't it?
aged very well. It looks
I
like a
think it's
spaceship.
gorgeous. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's a lot nicer than the old one. The old one's still there, and that is literally
it
just
might be
a
the old one I'm
circular
thinking of. Yeah,
high rise.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what I was
Oh
looking
no,
at.
the big
you didn't see the
shiny
brand
silver
new.
one?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
what
new
I'm
one.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
today I walked
gorgeous.
around like it looks a bit like Liverpool One, doesn't it? It's like an outside shopping centre with bits inside and stuff like that.
Oh, God,
I think
Yeah,
it's the
that's-
largest indoor shopping centre in Europe.
Is it? I know. Just because they've took our title,
Meadowhall or
they've just.
Trafford must be big on it.
I don't know. No, I don't know. They have just opened the world's biggest Primark. Took that
In
right from
Birmingham.
Manchester.
Yeah, in
Took that
Birmingham,
right.
innit?
What a claim to fame.
Charlotte showed me it the other day. He was laying in bed. She went, "Oh my god!" I was like, What's going on?" And she showed me, and it was like, "It's got like hair salons and all shit." Like, I was
Yeah,
like,
crazy.
"Charlotte, I'm not." She was like, "Can we go see your brother in Birmingham next week?" And I was like, "No, absolutely."
To go
not.
to Primark.
Yeah, it's like
It's crazy, isn't it? Just the
Yeah.
queues in there do my nutting, man.
it's just like a cheap Selfridges. I'm guessing, is it? Like,
What,
Well,
Primark?
it's becoming a department store, and it's like 5 floors. And
Yeah, I think so.
they're
yeah.
selling like you can customise T-shirts, and they've got like a hairdressers and beauty salons and all that. So it's just like a
Like a poor man's Selfridges.
poor man's
I mean, fair
Selfridges,
play
isn't
if you shop at. I mean, I'm
Primani, innit?
Primani, yeah. They do some great t-shirts. I love.
yeah,
the
man.
t-shirts.
I'm at that age now where I've dropped my I need to wear Lyland Scott or I need to wear Stoner. Like now I've started shopping on Boohoo.
That's
man.
Boohoo Man, innit?
Boohoo
Yeah.
Man, I love it. Like,
They do great Hawaiian shirts. This is what the one I'm wearing isn't from
yeah,
there,
that's
but
good
they
for
do
shit shirt night. That one.
great Hawaiian shirts. Oh, come on now. This ain't fancy dress. This is just my look.
We'll come to the subject, which when you told us yesterday or the day before, I loved. I was like, yes, brilliant. And then messaged you, didn't it, and we were a little bit confused because we were like, and I hope you'll help us out here. So your subject is,
Otherwise, we're fucked and it's going to be a shit episode.
your subject is Hollywood remakes.
It is.
Are we including reboots?
We're including all of that, and I really want to
right,
go
okay.
especially into those areas of offshoots, prequels, sequels,
Okay.
reimaginings, all of that.
Yeah.
Should we talk a little bit about me first, just to give some context? Because I'm not exactly a household name, am I?
Professional podcaster
So-
does, Thomas.
A lot of people out there will be scratching their heads going, who the hell is this guy?
No, I doubt it, mate.
We was going to do it in the intro.
Okay.
Fine, come on.
We
You're going to
normally
talk
do
me
that
up.
But yeah, Matt Stocks, obviously you run the great podcast Life in the Stocks, which has had some incredible guests, including me and Thomas.
Yeah, present company included.
And yeah, I mean, tell us about Life in the Stocks, I guess.
So it's a podcast I set up 2 years ago, and my background has always been in radio, so I've been broadcasting for about 10 years. But all the commercial stations I was working for, first of all Kerrang here in Birmingham, and then later on Team Rock in London, both of them closed down and went out of business. And I was also presenting on Scuzz TV, which also closed down and went out of business. You might be noticing a pattern.
I was going to say, yeah,
If you
well, you're
hire
not
me, your
gonna-
business
you're
will
not gonna drag us
fail.
down, will you?
Yeah.
This is the last podcast.
And Metal Hammer Magazine, I used to write for them, and they also went out of business. They're thankfully back. Kerrang Radio does still exist online. But I was just noticing this pattern that the rock music industry is struggling, as, you know, music is indeed struggling because
Yeah.
of the drop in album sales. And so I decided, you know what, I'm tired of having the rug pulled from underneath me every year. I'm just going to go out alone and try and, you know, build something that's mine, that I own, that nobody can then take away. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, is building up the podcast from nothing to something, hopefully. And the premise of the show is in-depth conversations as opposed to interviews about each guest's life and their career and art and the world. And yeah, it's been a nice mix of actors, comedians, musicians. I had a sex therapist on.
Oh, nice.
A rock and roll doctor, photographers.
A rock and roll doctor.
So yeah, Hank Wangford is the guy's name, and
Is
his
he not the sex therapist?
no, he wasn't the sex therapist. The sex therapist was brilliant, and we talked all about Me Too and gender politics, and
Oh,
you know,
nice.
a lot of these hot topics at the moment. And she gave some real authoritative insight into all of that. But Hank Wangford, the rock and roll doctor, is a guy who was a personal physician to the likes of Keith Moon, Pete Townsend, Keith Richards, all those 60s rock and roll gods. And
So
he was
he's
the
seen
guy,
it.
he has seen it all, and he was the guy that got a lot of those guys off heroin.
Wow.
So he had all kinds of stories, and he's also a country musician, did a lot of touring in the 80s with Billy Bragg. Who else has been on the show? Tom Green, the comedian Tom Green. That was one of my favourite episodes.
yes,
Steve-O
nice.
from Jackass
Yeah.
has been on. John Lydon from Sex Pistols. Sean Ryder from Happy Mondays. Bez from Happy Mondays. Be Real from Cypress Hill. Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine. Yourselves, Alice Lowe. And I'm launching season 2 of the podcast in a week. And my first guest is your old mate, Stephen Graham.
Yeah, we were just discussing that.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. I love Steve.
He was on this podcast. He was fantastic.
I mean, it's still probably
So
one of
funny.
our most listened to episodes, I think, in it?
Yeah,
The Steve one.
and I think it is bound to be. I mean, he's not just a British icon, is he? Now he's going over to America. He's working. Well, he went over with Gangs of New York, and he did all that over there, and obviously Broadwalk Empire. But now, like, he's working with Scorsese, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci. So he's He's gone mad now, isn't he?
He's a Hollywood name.
Yeah.
He is.
But
I'm still
he's
mad humble.
Yeah, mad humble. Like, he did an interview the other day with, or he did it a while ago, but it was out yesterday with the Evening Standard.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah,
and he was still like saying really nice things about all of us lot from when we was younger, and he's just always been that humble guy. And I think the more work that he does and more recognisable he becomes more humble. Do you know what I mean? So, no doubt that's going to be a good listen. Your episode, I'm looking forward to listening to that.
Yeah, definitely.
well, it's crazy, isn't it? Because he now calls the likes of Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, now Marty Scorsese, his friends, personal friends.
Yeah.
And as you say, he is so down to earth and real. And he invited me over to his house to do it. I'd never met the guy before in my life. And
See, I made you sit in a car on the seafront.
I know, yeah. Hey, that was a nice time, though. That was a nice setting, that was. We had fish and chips.
But Stephen
I'll tell you
Graham's a lot
what,
harder
though,
than
if you
that.
remember, it was a baking hot day. And
Yeah.
by the end of it, because we couldn't have the windows down, obviously, because it would crush the sound,
Sweat box.
we
Horrible.
literally jumped out the car at the end, drenched in sweat.
yeah, it was horrible, wasn't
It was like a sauna. But,
Yeah, it really, really was.
You both spoke to me about how much Stephen was a mentor to you guys early on.
It still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I just did a
Yeah.
short film with him before Christmas, and still
Brilliant.
kind
Brilliant,
of. Oh, nice one, mate. I still kind of like. It was like fucking hell, yeah. I forgot because I'd not really done any scenes with Steve since I was like 15 when we did the first This Is England. I kind of forgot how it gets into the zone and stuff like that, and I was like, shit, yeah, like fuck it, it just ups your game, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Because you're
does,
like,
yeah.
right, okay,
Working
we're
with
playing,
people
we're
like
playing the big
Steve-
leagues now.
Working with people like Steve really makes your job easy because he brings
Yeah.
out something that it's just like a true feelings, and he terrified when he's playing combo. And This Is England. A lot of the scenes that we had to do together. I mean, he don't even have to say anything. He's got a look, and but in such a loving, terrifying way. I don't know what he does, but it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And we worked together on a little commercial recently again, and that was just a little bit of fun. And he was brilliant. Like he's quality. He's great at comedy. He's great at the serious stuff. But yeah, he's just so down to earth, and I think that definitely shows. Done it in all interviews and stuff. So. Yeah.
What were you telling me about the scene where you were in the closet and you were basically left in there, and you were, I
I'm
guess,
out now.
under the.
I'm out now. I'm
You're,
out the
he's
closet.
out. Thomas is very much out.
happened, yeah.
You said that you thought that he was beating up Shimmy for real
Oh, right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So in the scene,
in the movie for This Is England.
So in the scene where Combo's beating Milky up, Shane and Stephen both said to me, because I was prone to messing around all the time, I was in people's faces being a little shit. They said to me, right, you need to really, really, really focus here because I'm taking Shimmy into this room and I'm whipping him. And I remember he was hitting the sofa with a bamboo, and in my head, because they told me, I thought he was hitting Shimmy, and obviously Shimmy was pretending to scream in pain to get my reaction. And I think, like, for a 14-year-old boy, I mean, Shane was like mind fucked me in a way, but in such a brilliant way. But like I think I've said this before in previous interviews, that Shane doesn't just then go, right, that's a wrap, go on then. He really comforts you when he gets what he needs from you for a performance. He'll take you
To Wagamama's
He'll
no
take you to Wagamama,
Bring you down gently.
yeah, and bring you down gently.
Yeah.
He doesn't just say, right, that's a wrap, see you for the same again tomorrow. Shane's works in such a beautiful way. But anyway, this isn't about Shane.
It's not. Well, let me ask you guys a quick question before we get into my topic. What have been your favourite episodes to record so far?
Of
And
this?
what have been the most popular with your listeners?
Obviously, Steve
was
is a
a
big
great
listen because he's like we say rightly a household name now. John McClure.
John McClure
was a great
brilliant
one.
from Reverend
of the Makers, yeah.
I really enjoyed Rebecca Ryan's.
Ryan's last week's was really
chatting about
good.
chart music. Rebecca played Debbie in Shameless, and she's in Casualty.
Yeah.
Which she was sort of shot into the limelight, wasn't she? You know, like
we
was in
were.
a way. So you know, we had a lot in common, and she's really, really cool and down to earth, and telling us about how she's engaged, and her fiance. One of the terms was, we'll get married as long as you pass your driving test. So we'd caught her just off the back of a lesson. Yeah. But yeah, she was cool. That was a great episode.
Jess Ellis as well.
Jess Ellis was another good one.
The ones that I quite like are where, and we've got a few of these coming up now, I think, where we don't know the guest. Like with yourself, we've met you before, so we've got a bit of a rapport. You know, Steve, obviously, we've known since we were kids, so there's a few of them. But then there's a couple of guests that we've done where we've literally never met them.
They're my favourite because you get to know the person whilst the tape's running.
Exactly.
And it's all genuine as well.
Yeah.
Kieran Griffiths as well.
Kieran's was brilliant,
He's a good friend of ours. Again, from Shameless.
He was episode 1, wasn't he, as well?
He was the first one, yeah. And Briggsy, it's like being asked to choose your favourite kid, isn't it? If you've got,
well, they all offer something different, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that we say, you know, over and over again is, it's not. Some people might be put off by the subject. So, like episode 2, for instance, is Biggie Smalls is overrated. So, people who aren't necessarily into hip hop might go, well, I won't have anything to say about that.
Which was me.
You were.
I didn't really know. Exactly. I knew who Biggie was, obviously, but
we watched the film, didn't we, the night before and stuff.
Yeah. That's when we actually used to do research.
Now we just rock up.
You've already stopped.
But yeah, no. So like we always say, like don't be put off by the subject matter because it's. The subject, like now, you know, we've come here with a subject, we've not discussed it yet, but that's fine because it's just an icebreaker for them people that we don't really know or just to get the conversation started.
Yeah.
Remember
when David Firth really threw us?
David Firth threw
we sat there and he told us his subject and then we got there and then we started recording and then he went straight into another subject that we'd not even thought about. We were
on it.
Holy fuck. We was like, what?
What, he changed it last minute and didn't tell you?
Well, no, it was a bit strange when it, so I said, okay, and tell us, like I did earlier with you, and tell us what your subject is. And his subject was...
like Star Wars?
No, but I think his actual subject was... I can't think. It's been that long now. It was. But anyway, so...
he mindfucked you guys from the sounds of it.
Yeah. Well, he does that to a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, his subject was always being right. So, like, you know, people in internet forums, Facebook, etc., having to be right and stuff. So I went, tell us your subject, Dave. And he went, Star Wars. And then we were like...
He was sat there wearing Star Wars trainers. Yeah. Did you have your high top things on?
Possible. I don't know. I ain't got any Star. I
think
I had me
Star
back.
Trek.
Yes, you know.
It's the same thing, innit? All that shit.
Fuck off.
So anyway, going on to the subject of films, your subject...
My subject is Hollywood remakes, and it's obviously a very broad subject. First of all, we should address all the Hollywood remakes, which are great.
Yeah,
which are
I was going to
really
say
good,
this
because they're not all bad, of course. And there's a few that I've picked out that I wanted to, I guess, use as good examples of great Hollywood remakes. And ones that I fully support. Vanilla Sky. The Cameron Crowe film was originally a Spanish film called Open Your Eyes.
Some of these you don't even realise. What was it we looked at earlier on and we didn't realise? I didn't realise. A Star Is Born?
Yeah, but I knew that.
You knew that?
I did know that, yeah.
I mean, I've
Barbara
not seen it
Streisand and...
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. But I know there was three of them. There was two before and then Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga was the number 3, wasn't it? Third instalment, well, not instalment, but third remake.
See, I love when they take foreign films and remake them often because I get the idea, I understand the thinking behind that.
Yeah.
They go, that's a really good story and it would benefit from exposure to a more mainstream audience because, let's be honest, you guys know it working in the film industry, subtitled films don't have that same draw that English-speaking films do they? That's sadly a fact. It doesn't faze me. You know, I'll happily watch subtitled films.
But they can dub them a lot now as well, don't they?
I hate dubbed films. You lose all the emotion.
I watched a series on Netflix recently called Quicksand, which is set in Stockholm in Sweden, and it's all Swedish language, and it's all dubbed. And I think because we work in the industry, I noticed it because what I thought is when there was a scene, there was by the side of a road, and all you could hear was the voices. You can hear them crystal clear.
No cars.
There's no atmosphere or anything like that. And I mentioned it to Charlotte, and she sat there going, I ain't got a fucking clue what you're on about. So
the mouth's not ing different as well?
Yeah, they're moving. Yeah.
But I just find you lose all the emotion with them.
By the end of episode 1, I was into it and loved it. and it's a brilliant series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever watched anything dubbed, apart from like when you put telly on when you're on holiday and it's The Simpsons in Spanish or something.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
But I really got into the only thing that I've watched a few films subtitled, but the only thing I've ever really like got into was Deutschland 83. Did you watch any of that?
You told me about that, but
it's so good. It's so good, and that's German. It's set during the Cold War with East German soldier kind of spying on the West Germans. It's brilliant. It's set in the 80s as well, so it's got that kind of proper cool music vibe and all that. But yeah, no, amazing series, and that's all subtitled. And at first, it took me a little while to get into it. But what helped me actually, because I've since rewatched
German.
A tiny bit. No, but what actually helped me was watching it on my phone. Because it's a smaller screen, so you're not kind of looking about as much. You know, sometimes when you watch subtitled
and you can't
films,
check your phone because you're watching the movie on it.
Exactly, yeah. Because that's another one. I've since watched it back on my TV, and yeah,
you find the mind wandering, don't you? That never used to happen, did it? When we were younger and mobile phones weren't a thing,
never.
You wouldn't sit there I mean, it never happens in the cinema. Hopefully not.
No.
But when you watch a film at home, often, and I'm guilty of it as well, you'll find your mind wandering, and I'll just go on Instagram and. That never used to be a thing, did it? You never sit there and get twitchy and itchy and...
I'm going to read a book.
Yeah. I'm going to pick up a magazine. No.
Yeah. I mean, again, is that just phones, though? Or is that because now you can just pause and rewind if you miss something as well? Do you know what I mean? There's an element
I think it's phones.
Yeah.
I do think they have this addictive...
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Really?
Endorphin releasing.
Addictive, yeah. So, I'm genuinely addicted to my phone.
Yeah, same.
And social media. Like, I can... The 3 apps that I use mainly would be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I can refresh Facebook, go off it, open Instagram, refresh Instagram, close it, go onto Twitter, go straight back to Instagram.
Repeat.
Yeah.
And I know that nothing's changed, and it's like it just becomes that big cycle. And I put something on Twitter the other week about like how social media is a massive, massive reason for people struggling with mental issues now, because people are so nasty online. So I tweeted something like Twitter's or social media's slowly making me hate the world, and then someone tweeted, yeah, but you're tweeting that, and I was like, yeah, because like, I will openly admit that I am addicted to social media. Like I don't know whether it's an attention thing, I don't know what it is, but it's scary. It really is.
It's just accessible, isn't it? It's kind of it's weird, isn't it? Because like especially like Twitter and stuff, you're just kind of recording thoughts. It's almost like a diary.
And a lot of the time, those thoughts don't need to be shared with the world. And that's the thing, I think, is people should filter themselves more. Not in the sense that you can and can't say that. It's just like, do they need to see a picture of these biscuits that I've made for you guys?
I hate people who go, Gary's been out
Although
cheating on me.
it is a very nice spread.
It's a crazy...
Gary's been out cheating on me and he hasn't paid his alimony, not American.
Keep some stuff
child
private,
support.
man.
It's like, I get that you're probably having a bit of a shitty time, but... I'm sat on the toilet reading Facebook. I don't give a fuck, to be honest.
I want videos of cats and dogs.
That's all we want.
The other thing as well with it is I think people now live their lives by comparison more than ever.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh my God, this person's always doing exciting things. They always look beautiful. And they're obviously seeing a very selective view of that person's life.
Exactly. There was a great post that I seen the other day, which was, I can't remember who posted it, but they said, stop following influencers and start following artists.
Yeah.
Because influencers will
Amen.
show you the life that they want you to see, where artists will make you go, oh my God, that's amazing. They'll inspire you.
To see the world in a different way, perhaps.
Exactly,
Yeah, it's so
I think
true.
that was what it said, actually. Just lost it there. But no, definitely.
Yeah, it's ridiculous people live this, like, online persona. But, I mean, I put photos of me eating my poached eggs in my dressing gown in the morning.
Every day.
And most days. Like, that's all my
This is real life.
This is my social media. It's eggs.
This is quality content. I mean, that's a word that I really despise as well, but we'll go off topic if we go down there. Content.
So let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back.
Love it.
Martin Scorsese, The Departed, a brilliant Hollywood remake of the Hong Kong film Infernal Affairs. Okay. Fantastic. Even the Old Boy remake I loved. Obviously the original's superior, I think, but the Spike Lee, Josh Brolin remake, brilliant. Ocean's 11, the first one at least. Originally that was a Rat Pack movie, wasn't it? With Dean and Frank and Sammy.
I've not seen the original. I'd quite like to see that because I like a bit of...
it's very cool.
Frank
if you
Sinatra.
like all of that kind of period in culture and music, then it would be right up your street. Very cool. Cape Fear, again, Martin Scorsese, great remake. There's loads. Magnificent Seven, that was a Western that I grew up as a kid watching every year. And Antoine Fuqua, is it the guy who did Training Day and a lot of those Denzel Washington movies? He did it. But then you go on to the other side, and often it's when the original film is a vehicle for a particular star. So let's say The Italian Job and Alfie. Both Michael Caine, fantastic pieces of cult British 60s cinema.
Yeah.
And then you have Mark Wahlberg in the Italian Job remake.
Yeah,
and Jude Law in the new Alfie. And Arthur, a brilliant Dudley Moore film, remade with Russell Brand. And when it's a star vehicle, sometimes I just think, leave the original as was. I guess my main problem with this topic and this concept is the lack of originality in the film industry now. And all we're seeing is reboots of old... Like they're basically retelling old stories.
But I think for the younger generation who don't really know who Michael Caine is, or, you know, like the younger generation, they'll... Like another example, I think, is Baywatch. You know, the Baywatch was obviously the original...
Was it ever a movie?
No, I think it was a TV show.
But they rebooted it as a movie. And The Rock to get the younger generation in, because if they, like, I don't know, say
but that young...
Do you think they're going to then go back and watch?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, they're not
going to. I don't know, but like a 13-year-old nowadays would go, "Who's Pamela Anderson?" But they go, "Zac Efron."
Missed out.
A 13-year-old back in my day, sunshine, but no, Pamela Anderson was.
But like nowadays, they'll know who Zac Efron is and they'll know who Dwayne Johnson is. So it's about getting.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's money.
Of course,
that's it. I mean,
and that's again, I think, the point that I wanted to stress.
Can do any film and people will go, "Watch
Jumanji."
Did
they need to remake that for a modern audience?
No, I mean, the thing is...
I don't know. I disagree. I think things come on... No, I don't know if they need to make it, but I think the way that things come on and the way that films are made, people might not... Someone might watch Jumanji back in the day and go, "This is shit."
It's dated.
It's dated, whereas kids nowadays, like, they won't watch something like that and go, "This is amazing." They want to see the people who they're familiar with do in such... The way that films are shot now with CGI and all things like that, that's what appeals to the younger generation. Yeah, not necessarily what's...
True, and I have no problem with the technical glossing up of old films, but what I find a lot of these remakes lack is the subtleties and the nuance of the characterisation of the originals.
Yeah,
and Jaws is a really good example. Have they remade Jaws? I'm sure they will at some point.
They will do. I mean, there was countless Jaws 2, Jaws 3.
Jaws is my...
I don't know. Didn't Jason Statham just do a film called Meg or something?
That's similar.
Does he punch?
We've still not seen. I mean, 2015 was supposed to have a Jaws remake that never got released.
The thing with Jaws is you don't see the shark until about 2/3 of the way into the film.
That's what's great,
and that's exactly why it's such a great film. And I wonder if they remade it today. Well, I don't wonder because I know the answer. You'd see the shark in the first 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, it'd be
Godzilla. They did that. Like, there he is. There's the whole Godzilla straight away.
Things have changed.
Kids don't have attention spans, I guess.
Things have changed. Like you've just been moaning about your Mac. About your USB thing.
Yeah.
Like, things change. People
when actually
want
it was just the game.
It was just my little thing,
But people want different things nowadays.
I mean, but then again, so going back to Jumanji, right? This is what done... Because have you watched the new Jumanji?
I have, yes.
I quite enjoyed the film. It was great. I like Jack Black. I love Jack Black.
Yeah.
You look like Jack Black.
Yeah, I've had that in auditions before. Can you do that again, just more like Jack Black?
Because we can't get the real Jack Black. So.
And you're a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. No, so the new Jumanji, what I didn't like about it, what really... I mean, I loved the film. I didn't love the film. It was a good film. It was watchable. My little girl enjoyed it. She also really likes the original. Is... spoon feeding or changing things that they go, well, no, we have to do it this way now because of this modern audience. So the original Jumanji is a board game.
The preconception that they need to be spoon fed.
Exactly.
Because it dumbs down the audience.
Exactly. So the original Jumanji is a board game. So they've got someone in Hollywood has sat there and gone, kids don't play board games now. No, kids don't play board games. They did in the 90s, but now it has to be a computer game. I mean, kids probably still do play board games, not as much as computer games, but the fact that they assume that a kid wouldn't understand what a board game is.
I don't know if they're assuming, or maybe they're just thinking times have changed so much.
Yeah, but I mean...
Kids don't play board games anymore,
Of course they do. My little girl was playing Hungry Hippos yesterday.
Yeah, well, board games is in, like, a strategy game.
Well, yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is, they might not play it as much, and obviously kids are just sat, just little Fortnite machines now. If you put Monopoly in front of a kid nowadays, you're going to be like, I want my iPad. But then
it's times are changing, that's what...
If we could take it in a slight sidestep and look at perhaps more adult films, and the remake.
Oh, this is a bit of a
films,
sidestep.
because I can understand
Yeah.
and sympathise with wanting to update family films for a family audience.
Yeah.
Here's a great example of the most pointless film ever made: Gus Van Sant's shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. What a pointless
I've not seen
exercise!
Psycho.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen the remake, but obviously, like the original Psycho's like just up there with.
I've
with-
never
yeah.
seen it. Never seen it.
He
Have you
did a
not?
shot-for-shot remake, so it wasn't even that he just remade it.
Why?
He did a shot. Exactly. Why? Have you got? It's Gus Van Sant. I love Drugstore Cowboy, My Own Private Idaho. He's a great director. Elephant. But why would you make shot-for-shot a reinterpretation of a film that's already? You're not going to get a better version than Hitchcock.
No,
You're just not.
Is it? I mean, it's obviously
It's
money.
probably
Is,
money,
is the
yeah.
newer version in colour?
It's in colour. It's got Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates.
Oh right, okay.
Or Anthony. It's Norman Bates, isn't it?
Yeah, Norman Bates, yeah.
And Anthony, whatever his name is the actor.
So so literally shot by shot. Exactly
Literally
the same.
just shot by shot.
It's
Like a
gotta be money
student.
then, hasn't it? It's got to be
Yeah,
money.
that's got to be
Project. And that's where I think the problem I have with it is the Wicker Man, the Nicolas Cage remake of
Yeah,
that.
I went and watched that at the cinema. I've not
I
seen
think
the
you mean the
original.
ride at Alton Towers, don't you, mate? The Wicker Man. Come on.
Yeah, I seen the Nicolas Cage one.
Awful.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to the cinemas, watching that, and coming out going, "What?" And I was only about 16.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What was that? I wasted time there." But I've not seen. Is the original good?
The original's fantastic.
Is it?
Christopher Lee, yeah, it's one of those. There's a subgenre of movies at the time. There was Witch Hunter General, The Wicker Man. There was another one like these kind of British Gothic horror films.
Yeah.
Just iconic classic movies. King Kong as well. I get why you'd remake it from a technological point of view.
Yeah.
But again, it was just such a bad movie, wasn't it? And Peter Jackson is one of the
Well,
best to
one
ever
with,
do it.
who was
Again
in
with
it?
Jack Black.
Yeah.
I
See,
fell
I haven't
asleep
seen the
twice.
original. I haven't seen the original, but I enjoyed that one.
Did you? I think. I went and watched it at the cinemas with some mates. I fell asleep, and then I put it on once at home, and I fell asleep again. Like, I've never made it through
It's
it all.
all just style over substance. And that's what a lot of these remakes, I find, as a viewer, are, is they look great.
Which from that
but-
sort of film, you want to look great.
Yeah, and I think Marvel do it fantastically because Marvel's stories always have a backbone.
Yeah.
And you're always invested in the characters. DC, on the other hand,
Yeah.
I mean, are they
What did I
yet to
go
make a
watch
new
the
good
other day?
film?
went to
Aquaman
watch-
is one of the worst.
Is it
films
bad? I've not seen it
I
yet.
have ever
I went to watch one
seen.
called-
I've give up on DC until obviously the
Batman
Joker.
versus Superman.
Have you seen
Terrible.
Shazam?
No,
I've not
new
watched it
one.
yet.
Is that DC?
You've been and seen a comic book movie.
So listen. So I was away. Not away. We went for a country drive with my friends, and we found a little cinema, and we thought, yeah, we'll go.
You can
in
say dogging
We
on
went.
the
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay. So two of the lads who were into all of the whole X-Men and all that superhero stuff.
I take it you're not a comic book guy now.
No, I'm not really. And there was like, let's go watch this Shazam, and I sat down. And I shit you not, within 10 minutes, I was like, what? This is exactly why I don't watch this shit.
But again,
But it doesn't mean to
What-
say that I won't do it if
No,
there's anyone
yeah,
listening.
what-
Because I like money. And
what
there's
you're
money in that.
watching though, like me
Yeah,
and Matt
that's
were just
exactly
saying
what
there,
they said.
is it DC, like basically, so you've got Marvel, you've got DC.
I know they're
Marvel
not-
do it very well, and Disney, and DC just haven't got it yet. There's some Wonder Woman was good. Enjoyed
You know what?
Wonder
I
Woman.
didn't see that one, but
It's
after
worth a
Batman
watch.
versus Superman,
Is that just
I
that
vowed
nice
to
like
never
a
watch
costume?
another one.
What I
and I only
hated-
watched Aquaman because of Jason Momoa, because I think he's just a very charismatic,
Yeah.
cool dude,
Yeah.
and he is a super cool dude. But
Yeah.
Aquaman is a
It's a bad movie.
travesty.
Oh my!
Oh, really?
I mean,
It's so bad. I'm not just saying that to be, a
Yeah.
critic.
Yeah, see, I've never really been into him. And I said to him when I was walking out, I said, that's just reminded me why I don't like superhero movies. And they said exactly that. They said,
Yeah.
that wasn't a good one to go and watch. They said, like, if you go and watch Iron Man.
yeah, give
or-
MCU a go.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Marvel's cinematic universe.
Thank you very much.
So that's your Iron Man,
God.
your Captain America, your Thor,
Yeah, and that's what they said. They said,
the way
watch
through.
all them ones. Because there's a new one out,
Endgame. soon.
Endgame. And that's like the most...
Don't start there though, because you'll have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea
No,
what's
I'm
going
gonna
on.
start.
Do not start.
That's
Imagine that.
Endgame.
That's
After
like
an
the one of the
11-year
most-
franchise building, he
Exactly.
goes straight to the finish line.
Where's everybody? I thought you said he was in this.
You just said you're going to start Line of Duty at Series 5.
It's
Yeah,
true, but I found I
You've
can
got 4
enjoy
series.
that without any.
You will not be able to watch
familiarity.
Endgame. I mean,
Well, I don't want to be honest.
And I will not.
My missus, like you, T, a month ago, was like, no, not interested in comic book films. She won't watch Star Wars or anything like that. And then basically, a fair few of us were going to watch Captain Marvel. So we've got these Cineworld Unlimited cards.
God,
How much are they for the year?
I don't know, like $17.99 a month.
So basically the cost of one cinema outing.
Exactly.
That's
if
mad.
you go to the cinemas twice in a month, you've made your money back.
I'm going to do it today.
Yeah, mate, they're great. So we went and watched Captain Marvel. My wife hadn't seen any of them, but I was kind of like, oh, it's okay because it's set in the 90s, so no one's really been in it yet apart from Captain America, but he's so we went and watched it. No, he's not dead. He's just nice.
Well, you've just ruined it for me. Nice one.
So she absolutely loved it, Captain Marvel. So I was like, right, okay. Now we've got to do the MCU in a month before Endgame comes out this month. So we're doing it. We started.
There's 22 films, is there?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So we've breezed through them pretty well. She's loving them as well.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
And that's Emily.
people say that
She's
to me,
she's not one bit into sci-fi or anything. She likes Harry Potter, which I know you're not a fan.
Well, yeah, not that I'm not a fan. I've just never really
seen it.
got round to it. I just kind of was a bit like, I don't know. Maybe I watched a bit of the first one when I was a bit younger.
You were outside playing footy while I was inside
That's
reading
what I
Harry
mean.
Potter.
I was out playing footy and
that's the difference.
just being an absolute lad all the time.
kissing girls, having fun, you know.
Yeah.
Dogging and Shazam on the weekends.
There's an article on, and people can Google this. You should do it, actually. If you've already started, you've missed the boat. But I think you can, you can definitely do it. There's an article which shows you not the release of the films, but the release in which they take place.
That's what we're watching it in, yeah.
Oh, so you're watching them in chronological.
chronological.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've got a thing that's like
Nicely done, my friend.
The lads I went with have sent me a thing to saying that's the order that you need to watch them in.
Yeah, I've got
and
a
I will
picture.
get round to it, but I mean,
Honestly, mate, you'll enjoy it. I mean, there's some of them.
Here we go, the ice cream man.
Oh, but you've
You're
got
in the
ice cream,
suburbs.
man.
You're in the suburbs now, boys.
Jeez. We've watched in chronological order, and I remember watching them the first time, and like the first Captain America, I remember just not enjoying. I don't know why. The only thing I liked
I
about
remember
it
thinking the same. Yeah.
is it was filmed in Manchester a bit, so I was like, oh, right, cool, I like that. I mean, it's done up as New York, but you know. But since rewatching them, like there isn't a bad one. Like they're all fucking great films.
didn't they make one about a bumblebee recently?
A bumblebee?
Ant-Man and Wasp, he's thinking.
Oh,
about.
Ant-Man and Wasp. No, it's not about a bumblebee. See, again, so I turned around to my missus the other day because we
Hey,
came on
to go watch a film about a robotic bee.
No,
No,
you're thinking Transformers there. No, I said to my missus the other day, I was
Yeah, there
like,
was a
right,
Transformers movie just called Bees or something. wasn't
Bumblebee.
it?
Is that the one I'm
Yeah.
on about?
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Forget that, Transformers.
You know what I mean?
But
Different
again,
league. Awful.
it's not for me. It's not
I have
for
to
me.
watch. I watch them just out of curiosity. But yeah, anyway, so I said to my missus the other day, I was like, right, we're on Ant-Man, so let's watch that.
What the fuck
And she was like,
Ant-Man?
and she went, what's Ant-Man? And
Paul Rudd's in it. He's really good.
He is brilliant.
He's really
so I
good.
was saying to my missus, I was like, no, it's really good. And she went, right, what's it about? So bear in mind,
a mechanical ant.
she'd watched all these
Yeah.
others, and I was like, so it's this guy basically can shrink down like really small, and then he can control ants with his mind, and she was like, no.
Yeah, it
and I was like,
sounds
well, you've got to
wonderful.
watch it because it fits into the universe. You won't understand other bits without that. And then she loved it. Like it sounds
the
daft.
funniest of all of them, isn't it?
No, it doesn't
It's a bit
sound
like
daft.
comedy. Well, and
Ooh,
Thor. Thor is so
Ragnarok,
funny.
Yeah.
Bring me another. He smashes that.
She
glass.
loved that. She loves Thor.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick out
Swiftly
some more
moving
awful
on.
remakes. So here's another thing they did a while ago. They would remake those iconic 50s sci-fi films. So Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They did
Yeah.
one called Invasion with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, I saw that, and it was like a weird. Yeah.
Awful. The Day the Earth Stood Still. They did with Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Awful. And I get it, if you're a teenager now, you're probably not going to go back and watch a 50s black and white film. But what I'm here to say is you should. They will seem a bit kitsch and dated, but there's quality writing within, and they just have...
There's a certain level of expectation now with movies, though, I think.
and that for me is a shame. I think it is. It's part of my problem with it all. Is people, as you say, they go in. I want explosions, and I want HD,
And it's the same with TV as well. I was sitting the Royal Family, and I just thought the idea of that.
Great show.
You're sitting, and it's one set.
one shot, most of it. as
Yeah,
well, isn't
and
it?
it's sort of just a family sitting there, and I was thinking,
That would never get made
Get away
today.
with it now.
And again, what a
People
shame,
watch
because
it.
it's such a fantastically written, brilliant
Amazing.
piece of British
Set in
Timeless.
Withenshaw.
comedy history, isn't it?
Just
Timeless,
saying.
yeah.
Is it really?
Set in Withenshaw, yeah.
That's what I mean. I just
She's
thought
from
there's
there.
no way. All it come down to was great characters and great writing. That's
Yeah.
all it took to have a sitcom, if you like, in sort of the 90s. Whereas now it's like,
Do
they
sitcoms
expect
even
so
exist
much
anymore?
more.
Are there any?
I don't
I was
think.
trying to think the other
Sitcom,
day.
I mean, like,
I mean, yeah, because I mean, you've got there is a few sort of
other than Miranda,
sitcom
which is
things.
awful.
Yeah, I give that
and like
one.
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Oh man.
See, I grew up with like Irish grandparents, and Mrs. Brown's Boys is an old show. Like that's been going since the 90s. Like my nana used to have all them on DVD years before
VHS.
the BBC. VHS, yeah. And the older ones that they used to go out, I think they used to go out on RTE only. They're quite good. I think. Yeah, it's a bit dated now as well, isn't it? Like, you couldn't even imagine something like Friends really nowadays. I mean,
you get that certain level now. And to be fair though, it's not. I think a lot of it stems down to because people don't watch telly. I don't have channel 1, 2, 3, and 4 at my house. Because everything that I watch is like on iPlayer, on ITV or Netflix and stuff like that. I just think people don't go around now and on a Thursday night go, 9 o'clock, I need to be at home. I need to be at home at 9
Do you know what, though? I've been
because
doing that every
the bills
Sunday
are-
at 9 for Line of Duty.
Yeah,
the
I
first
think-
time
But
in
what's
years.
the point when you
I
can
think
watch
it's
it
coming
Monday
back.
morning on your sofa?
It's that ritual, isn't it?
Stay in the
Yeah.
pub. Watch it when you get up in the morning hungover.
Yeah, I mean, there's
with
some
a bacon sandwich. That's
You've got
what
this
today
dialed
is.
in.
Well, I'm just saying how much it's changed now. People don't need
Yeah.
to rush home from the pub to watch the bill at 9 when they can just watch it in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, as Matt said, it's quite rightly happening a little bit more now with Line of Duty. I know, obviously, Game of Thrones, The Bodyguard. Was it The Bodyguard?
The Bodyguard was brilliant. That was one that I was watching. Every sort of week, me and Charlotte was like, wow.
I think it's that idea that you don't want to miss the episode, go out and then see what's happened online. Because that's another big thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
is
spoilers.
people, if they can't get to the new Game of Thrones episode that night, you see some people go, right, I'm off the internet for 24 hours till I've seen it. Like that's this big sacrifice that they're making. You might do it, but would you go online and make a point of it?
Oh,
like,
no.
I am coming off Twitter for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, do you want a fucking round of
Yeah.
applause? Like, oh my God, you're going to log off the internet for half a day.
Yeah.
You
Well
hero.
Yeah.
I think as well, like if you do that, you just set
Yeah,
yourself
you just
up to
said
be a target. It's like,
Yeah,
right,
I
I'm
know.
going to text you, fucking this happens in that or whatever.
You just said doo-doo.
What?
You
You
just
do.
said doo-doo.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to your thing, one that I can't stand nowadays, and it's coming back to that kind of lack of imagination and stuff.
That's my big problem, really. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of great Hollywood remakes.
Yeah.
It's just a lack of imagination on the industry's point.
Originality.
And then there's just a lack of... Are they just really having that little respect for their audience now?
Yeah.
They just keep... with recent 80s remakes, I can understand if it's 50s, 60s, it's a long time ago. They're now remaking 80s stuff. Pet Sematary, It... And it was actually a pretty good remake.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
You reckon?
I quite liked it, yeah. I loved the music. I loved the
Yeah.
scene where the Cure's playing and they're cleaning out the bathroom.
That scene when I think they're in the basement and it's there.
Biscuit,
and he goes,
mate.
No, I'm alright.
when it clowns and he goes boo right in his face.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watched it and come out because I'd seen the original with my mum and I loved it and it terrified me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But then I went into the cinema thinking and then come out and I was like.
Do you know why that is?
I thought it was more funny.
I think if
Yeah,
you
it
have
was-
good memories of a film,
Yeah.
the remake
Yeah.
will never top the
But
original,
again, like
even
I-
if it's a better movie, because it isn't a good movie, the original. It's not a good film, but it has that kitsch appeal
Yeah,
and
but it was-
nostalgic.
But I mean, the horror wasn't in this new one.
No.
But
The
yeah,
horror
me and my
wasn't in
missus.
it was more the
Yeah.
bits in that film that was supposed to be scary and make you jump. I physically found myself laughing at the cinema.
Same.
And it was like, I mean, it was great. And the kid, I can't remember the name of the guy who played
That Finn
Pennywise.
Wolfhard kid who's in Stranger Things.
But
is
you
in it
know-
as
I
well,
didn't
right?
like that casting either. I thought.
Well,
Stranger Things is.
Will Poulter was supposed to play.
Oh, was it?
Will
I like
Poulter
Will
was supposed to
Poulter.
play
He's a,
Pennywise.
wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was.
He'd make a great
Yeah,
Pennywise.
He's
wouldn't
got
he,
the face
really?
for it,
Yeah,
hasn't
So,
yeah.
but the director who was originally supposed to do it walked out, or
Alright.
something went on, and Will said, "I only want to do it if he's doing it, or maybe the other way around, or something happened." Like, but I know that he was supposed to do it.
I thought the casting.
Will Poulter was he in Mad Max, the recent remake of that?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. He was
As
in
the weird
Detroit.
little thing that gets sprayed with the
I've not
ice in his
seen it.
teeth.
Should we have a quick
You know
Google
Will
check?
Mad Max
Poulter,
Fury Road. Yeah.
Google
And
check.
that was a brilliant remake, but it's the same guy that did the originals.
So it's more of
And
a.
Mad Max Fury Road, honestly, if you haven't seen that.
I've never watched a Mad Max film.
No.
Never.
Is it Mel Gibson in the
Yeah,
originals?
yeah, yeah.
I
Is it
never watched
They
them.
were filmed in Hartlepool, was there?
Really?
I think it's bits
I
of it was
don't-
filmed in
I don't know whether people have just told you that because it's set
I
in a
think
really
it's all
bleak-
Australian, because it's an
Yeah.
Australian film director.
It's set in like a really
The Outback.
yeah
Yeah, there might be.
Oh, is it?
a really
So
bleak
I'm totally
dystopian future. Probably Hartlepool. Sorry to the
I-
Hartlepool listeners.
Is he in it?
I don't know. My phone's not, because we're in the middle of nowhere. I've got no signal.
We'll fact check.
We'll
fact check.
We'll do that, yeah.
I'm
We'll
sure
put
he's in it. Sorry, Andy, what were you going to say before I got excited about
No,
Mad
you're
Max?
right, mate. What I was going to say is, like, I am...
He was
again,
not.
going back to the...
He was not.
Going back to the lack of imagination, for me, as much as I am, a bit of a socialist lefty, I absolutely fucking love Disney. Like, love them. The biggest, capital R, love Disney. Love it. Nowadays, they're just... Yeah,
What's politics got to do with Disney, very quickly? I'm just interested in your take
just
on that.
because, like, they're normally seen as this big kind of capitalistic entity that is Disney,
right, reinforcing
like,
old-fashioned values.
Yeah, and like they own everything.
Woman needs a
now.
prince kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. But I grew up on Disney, and I absolutely love Disney. I love going to Disney World. Like
Disney's the best, man. Jungle Book, first of all. What did you think of that one?
The remake.
I loved it.
Is that Margot Robbie?
I got half.
Yes,
I think
Bill
everyone
Murray
was in that
Bill
one.
Murray
Idris
as Baloo,
Elba.
Christopher Walken as Louis, King of the Swingers. Genius casting.
I've not seen it all the way through.
directed it as well.
Oh, did it? I like Favreau.
Don't judge me. I've never seen a Jungle Book.
You've not seen the cartoon, the original?
No.
Wow.
Or The Lion King.
Really?
You've never
He
seen...
also...
I wish I could take a photo of his face.
You missed the moment now.
I was going to take a photo of your face then for the Insta.
Absolute shock.
Like, what... I want to hug you and ask
of
you
all, I
about
feel
your
sorry for you.
childhood. What, you never seen The Lion King?
No, never seen it.
Jeez.
Favreau's making the remake of that as well.
Yeah, I just
The Lion
don't...
King, I might go watch a new one.
No, don't.
Yeah.
I mean, again...
I'll probably go watch it, and that goes back to...
How many Jungle Book?
that goes back to...
What you were saying earlier,
I might watch a little cartoon and I'll be like, nah. It's like when you put Sky One on and there's an old episode of The Simpsons, I'm like, But if there's a newer version, now you can tell like the graphics and the way it's made. And like, I'd much rather watch a newer one than an older one.
Oh, mate.
So I'd much rather watch the new Lion King than an old crappy cartoon.
He's gone from shock to pure rage.
No, I mean, they started remaking these things with the Jungle Book, which admittedly I did buy on Apple, and me and my missus started watching it, and then we got tired. We just never put it back on. I don't know why. I maybe need to give it a watch. Went and watched Dumbo the other day. So I'm a little girl.
We need to talk about Tim Burton, because Planet of the Apes, Willy Wonka, and what was the other one he did?
Alice in Wonderland.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland. 3 of the worst
Corpse's
films.
Bride.
Corpse's Bride.
I mean, we're actors, and I don't want to ever, not get on the Tim Burton shit,
Yeah.
because I would fucking love to jump on that Tim Burton
But when you
shit.
compare them to Big Fish, Ed Wood, Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I mean, like exactly like Matt's just said. Yeah, Tim Burton's films of late
a massive dip.
haven't necessarily. Yeah, they've not
Charlie
been
and
as
the
great.
Chocolate Factory did. So
Hated it.
You hated
it. Love the original with all my heart.
Have you seen the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
the one with...
Thank you so much, because that
with Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
See, I preferred the
Oh
new
my
one.
God.
Get on a fucking boat and just go away.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Like, it's a personal preference. Get the fuck out of my face, all right? I'll take you outside and beat you up. I don't give a fuck.
Has this ever happened before?
No.
I love it.
Never.
I mean, Will Scrap.
Yeah.
But no, it nearly happened in Kendal once, didn't it? What we were talking about?
I don't know.
We were driving
Not
down
on the podcast, though.
We were driving down a country lane in Kendal. And me and him were arguing like we're like an old man and woman, aren't we? And both our like missuses are in the car. And he just went, "Shut the fuck up, or I'll get out and fight you." So I was like, "Go on then." So he pulled over the car. And me and him got out, just had a little slapping match. not like real, like we were just dicking
With
about.
the girls inside just looking out like, what?
What idiots? Yeah, hungover.
It's just I
can't believe you preferred the Tim Burton one.
And I don't know whether it's because of the quality of it or how it's made, or I don't know. I just
thought it was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah, same.
Oh, really?
And I love Johnny
same.
Depp and I love Tim Burton,
I love
but
Johnny
those
Depp.
2 films, Alice in Wonderland, I thought was atrocious as well.
Yeah, I nearly had a
They did 2 of them as well, didn't they? 2 Alice in
Yeah,
Wonderland.
I nearly had a
Tim Burton
part
didn't direct
in the second.
In the second one?
Yeah, well, not really.
Did Tim Burton do that the second one?
No,
or not?
no. It was when we were doing 90, I think. My agent rang and was like, do you fancy... It was just after we'd finished filming 90 or something, but it was basically to play Tweedledee while Matt Lucas was being Tweedledum, and then swap over while Matt Lucas was being Tweedledum, and I'd be Tweedledee. Which would be cool.
Standard.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, exactly. but they were like, it'd be great and all that. But I turned it down.
I've just come off the back of the biggest Channel 4 series ever.
I'm not going to be a stunt double.
No, I'm not
going
to be a fucking stunt double. Thank you very much. I'm changing agents. Goodbye.
No, but I considered it, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And I thought, oh yeah, Tim Burton, working with Johnny Depp, Matt Lucas, who as you just said then, George Dawes, like I grew up on Shooting Stars, like,
and he's a
fucking
brilliant
loved it.
actor, isn't he?
Exactly.
Was that Matt Lucas?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Who hopefully we want to get on here.
Yeah, I've been speaking to Matt,
Really?
and he's agreed
Oh,
to
man.
come on it when we can nail down a good time.
Got to
So,
ask him about the film Small Apartments.
Stop poaching our guests, man.
I'm
We'll
saying
ask
you've
our
got to ask him
questions, all
about
right?
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah. So
number
yeah. Going back to the Disney thing though, like I say, like I just think Disney is such. I mean, Walt Disney was such a great storyteller, and you know, the films have stood the test of time. Like My Little Girl will sit. We've got that Disney Life thing.
That Disney Life.
No, it's a subscription.
Oh,
thing.
right. It's not like...
So it's like they've got most of their old films on there and stuff. So my little girl will watch, you know, a couple of weeks ago I put Dumbo on knowing that there was going to be a remake. So I was like, right, okay, watch Dumbo and then we'll go and watch the new one.
How is the new one?
I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard people have walked out and said it was
Walked
dreadful.
out, wow.
Yeah, so Elliot,
Yeah.
who's Example, the rapper and singer, I saw that he'd put something on. He said that he'd walked out, his kid hated it or something.
Yeah, I mean, I went and watched it and admittedly Dumbo's probably not one of my favourite Disney films. I remember watching it when I was a kid.
I haven't seen many Disney films.
Yeah, it was good. You know, but yeah, the new one, it just didn't do it for me. And again, you know, you look at it and it's Tim Burton, you go, okay. And then Michael Keaton's in it, so you go, okay, Tim
Danny
Burton, Michael
DeVito.
Keaton, Danny DeVito's in it, so you're thinking of like, you know, you're thinking of the great Tim
Batman
Burton film.
Returns,
exactly.
yeah.
And yeah, it just didn't tickle the right spot for me. My wife loved it.
Does she tickle the right spot for you?
Always.
Hopefully not whilst watching Dumbo.
My nephew, he loved it, but then my little girl got a bit bored. I think towards the end,
Really?
she just
And
yeah.
she's a fan of all the
And
original Disney
she
cartoons.
Yeah. And again, I think it's because I don't know. I just don't. I don't think they're necessarily just. The great thing about Disney is they've never just told stories for children.
Yeah,
And I
of
think
course.
now they're trying that even harder. So with Dumbo and that, like, it's not just for children, but it's even more. They're trying to get that adult market and the nostalgia market and all that. And I think tell it for children and adults will just love it anyway. Do you know what I mean? I think in a lot of cases.
I feel like I'm not missed out, but I didn't watch many Disney films at all growing up.
Really?
None at all, really.
Give us a list of some that you've watched.
What is the most recent? When I think Disney, straight away I think Frozen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be a short list.
Wow.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I grew up when I was sort of 9, 10. I was watching Don't Be a Menace and
Great film.
Die Hard,
Don't-
mate.
Yeah, Don't Be a Menace and Ali G and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. I
I was
mean-
really old before my time. I think. I was.
Yeah. No,
So the
I like
idea of
Disney.
watching kids' films is like don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Frozen. I've probably watched that a couple of times just with me
Frozen's
and my wife.
great,
But I Disney films just don't really. Charlotte loves them.
Yeah.
Charlotte obviously she works
She's
in a
big
nursery. She works with kids and she loves kids. So she's like obsessed with Disney. But yeah, it's just not really for me.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying is like now they seem to just be doing the MCU and then
Marvel
just
Universe.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, thank you.
And then and now just re-releasing old films with so like they've got The Lion King out this year, Aladdin.
Will Smith playing Aladdin.
Will Smith playing the genie.
Which he'll probably be great.
I'll probably go
He'll
watch
probably
that.
be great in that role.
I'll watch that.
Yeah, I mean, again, have you seen Aladdin?
No.
Wow. Like, you know, I mean, I don't. I mean, I love Will Smith.
Can we just say,
Absolutely
just
love
off the
him.
record, Matt is nailing
I
them
know.
biscuits. There was a full
This
plate
is
of
on
biscuits,
record.
and the only ones he hasn't touched are
feel guilty.
and his
Nice.
council estate biscuits.
I'm above them.
Which, I mean,
Can I
no.
hone in on something here? I think we've
Go on,
nailed
mate.
it. Here's my problem with the Hollywood remake in a nutshell. Tim Burton has got one of the most imaginative minds in the history of Hollywood cinema. And you look at his early work, Beetlejuice, Batman Returns, Edward Scissorhands, Big Fish, all those films are just so original and idiosyncratic and fantastic, right? And then now he's just remaking all these films that have already been made fantastically well by
Yeah.
someone else. He's remaking them all and doing lesser versions. And this is from one of the most brilliant brains in cinema. And I don't want to see Tim Burton do Dumbo, do Wonka, do Alice
you
in
wanna see
Wonder.
him
I
do
want to
his
see him
own
do
thing.
Tim Burton. I want to see him be Tim Burton.
Yeah.
He can do anything he wants. So why is he going back to this regressive remake thing
And
that's just, I think, a blanket characteristic kind of sweeping trend at the moment throughout Hollywood? And for me, it just bums me out because I want to see new stories. And you look at people like Jordan Peele, right? The films that he's
Genius. Love
making are so fresh
Yeah.
and original and distinct to where he's coming from as an artist. And that's what I want to see more of, is auteurs and original, fresh thinking filmmakers.
I think it's difficult nowadays, though, because cinema's so different, and I think the way that I don't know, the way that they used to work back in the day, i.e. Tim Burton and all the old school people, do you think that the reaction would be the same from our generation now?
No, I think...
Because things have changed so much.
I think one thing in
Things
there
have changed. People don't, like say, people aren't out playing board games, and, you know, kids aren't on the streets, you know, playing football and doing that as much anymore because there's so much...
But what about adults? What about adults?
Yeah, you need to cater for them. I think one thing why it has changed so much nowadays, and probably why there's not as much imagination, everything seems to need to be a franchise now because of Marvel doing so well. Because
sequels, prequels.
Exactly. Everything now needs. So you couldn't Beetlejuice, for instance, if that came out now and it was the same exact film, it was Michael Keaton and it was amazing. It would probably have the same reaction, but we'd already have Beetlejuice 2 in the works and Beetlejuice 3 in the works.
Yeah.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean is a great example.
So
you genuinely believe that if Beetlejuice wasn't released and it was released next week, it would do as well as it did back then now?
I think so, because it's a great film. If it was exactly the same film released now, I think it would. I think genuinely it would do as well as it did.
Would it need umphing up?
But this is what I'm saying. The umphing up would be that you'd go, that was a great film. Oh, next year I can't believe I'm going to get the midnight screening of Beetlejuice 2 because I need to. Do you know what I mean? Like admittedly, like I just said with the Marvel universe and that.
I suppose it's become more about money then.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's always been about money, hasn't it? Ultimately,
which is amazing for us as actors.
It's show business.
Yeah, speak for yourself, mate. I ain't worked for months. I want a franchise. Fucking pissed off for short films.
Why this is
doing a franchise?
Sorry,
Kingsman. That's
a franchise.
Yeah, but I mean that was only a very, very small part, wasn't it?
Were you in 2 of those, or just the last one?
Just the last one. And they're making one at the moment. They're making a prequel to it.
Yeah,
and then they're on about making more, and I suppose
they're comic book films.
Are there?
Yeah, originally a comic book,
I've never read the comic books, just watched the films.
Yeah, well, like a graphic novel, I think, which is a comic book for people who don't like admitting that they read comic books.
Can you get that on iPad now?
Probably, yeah. It's
mental our times changed. Things have changed so much.
Yeah.
Can I ask you both this? I'm choking on a biscuit, hold on.
Well, you won't have
That's
many
what
of them.
I get. Choking on a trio. Man down. Have either of you two ever walked out of the cinema?
I have, and I'll feel terrible saying it because Michael Fassbender's a mate of mine, and if he's listening, I'm sorry. But Assassin's Creed.
I've not seen it. I enjoy the games.
I love the games. Went with my friend in Hull, and I was watching it, and I was confused. I was just like, "What is going on here?" I didn't get it. I thought it was just. I don't know what I thought. I don't know, and it wasn't one of them films. Like normally, I can sit and just. Like with Shazam, when I watched that, I didn't particularly enjoy it. But
you ride it out.
Yeah. Ride it out. Whereas that, I said to my mate, I was like, I'm fucking off, mate. I said, I can't watch this. Can't watch it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever watched... Oh, Baywatch. I walked out of Baywatch.
You walked out of that?
Yeah. But I had to get a train.
Oh, so it wasn't because you didn't like it, it was because you had to be...
But I didn't particularly enjoy it.
How come you went in there knowing you'd have to leave before the end?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, with the timings of the trailers are running for...
Of course,
You get an hour and a half of trailers now.
Yeah.
Just for money.
Did you have to run for the train?
I made the train in the end. I can't remember
when you were running for the train. Was your mind in slow motion? Some people stand in the darkness.
You two are weird. I can't wait to leave.
I don't think I've ever walked out of a film.
No.
Have you not?
I don't think so, because I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit just like complacent. I'll just go,
I'll pay my money, I'm going to see this to the end.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, once. The Hobbit 3.
Yeah, once. This is England. Hated it.
I don't think I would have seen that at the cinema. But yeah, Hobbit 3, one of the worst films I've ever seen. Love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I think they're 3 of the best fantasy films ever made. I thought all 3 of the Hobbits were awful. And again, it's like if you've got a small book and you're trying to make a trilogy out of it,
exactly.
That's you're stringing it out. Just make one film.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings are 8 times the size. There's 8 times as much going on, so that warrants a trilogy.
Yeah,
The Hobbit didn't, and it was so bad.
Yeah, I never enjoyed Lord of the Rings when they came out. I never enjoyed them when they came out. Again, films I fell asleep during, and I'm talking I was probably about 10 when the first Lord of the Rings came out, maybe a bit younger. I've since rewatched them, really enjoyed them. The Hobbit was one of the first books I ever read. I used to love the book, and then when it was coming out and it was Martin Freeman playing it, I was like buzzing. I love Martin.
He's
Freeman.
great. He's really good.
He's really good in it.
He's really good in just Vodafone advert.
It was when
right. It's really good in that.
It was when they started singing for me. Didn't they a bit with like, is it dwarves or something or orcs or something? And they start
It's the dwarves.
singing.
It's James Nesbitt and his crew. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was. That was when
Classic
I was like,
Jimmy. Right. Always at it.
Down the pub, a few songs.
No, I'm sure it was in a
so
movie.
bad.
Yeah, no, yeah, I didn't give any of them. I think I watched the first bit of one, and then I was like, yeah,
It's just awful. Real shame. It's a real shame as well when there's like a black mark on a franchise. Like the first three are so timeless and fantastic, and you just think you've made enough money from those three.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
leave it. Just leave it.
Yeah, but how much money's enough?
Like Pirates of the Caribbean, isn't it? The first one, brilliant.
Great
Really
film.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved
Second,
them. Yeah, I loved them.
and
Are they
then the
Disney?
more they make, the worse they get. I think they are Disney. Yeah.
yeah, they're Disney. Yeah, so it's based on a Disney nerd.
Just
it's based
make sure
on a
you
ride
don't
at
say
Disney.
this is Stephen Graham.
Well, we've
you
already
like-
done the interview thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Because Steve's in a minute.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but no, same. Like I enjoyed the first Pirates, and then the second and third, where they were all right.
I think Johnny Depp
Um,
carried them as well.
Oh yeah,
Like,
100%.
he's brilliant.
But that for me was the start of him becoming a lazy actor because he used to be so good, and then I
Yeah.
feel like as soon as he hit that Jack Sparrow stride, he just started and Wonka and Alice in Wonderland, and it's like we're just seeing this same variation of this kooky kind of. You look
Which
at
he
him in a
does do
film like
well.
Finding Neverland,
Yeah.
and you see he's got great depth and he's a brilliant actor, and he
And,
can be the
What's Eating
kooky
Gilbert
wild man.
Grape as well,
Oh
it's
man,
amazing, yeah.
incredible!
Which one's that? Sorry,
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
I have not seen it.
Have you
Dude,
not? It's a
you
quality
need
film.
for Leonardo
So Leonardo
DiCaprio
DiCaprio.
alone. You need to
Good
see
film.
that. He's about 11 or 12 years
Oh,
old, isn't
shit,
it? And he
the bed.
plays this
maybe
autistic
14,
kid.
yeah. He's amazing.
Oh, nice.
He's one of them, like, I remember Jo Hartley, who played Cynthia in This Is England. She sat down and showed me, and I was like, I was only 13, I think. No, I'm not watching a fucking film about fucking eating grapes or whatever. And then she said, let us watch it, and I watched it, and I was like, it stuck with me, that film, and I've watched it a number
Got
of
to
times.
check it out, man. It's an incredible
amazing. Like,
performance.
yeah,
isn't it?
Leonardo
And Juliette Lewis is
DiCaprio
brilliant
is
as well.
like, yeah, amazing.
So while we're on this, and with Pirates of the Caribbean, let's go on to kind of like reboots and where do you stand on them? Like refreshing a series.
Well,
Or yeah.
Batman did it incredibly well. The
With
Dark Knight.
Yeah, they was amazing.
Insane.
Yeah.
And when I first heard they were doing it, because I was such a big fan of the two Burton films, and I actually really like the Joel Schumacher Batman and Batman Forever
That was a great one.
with Jim Carrey and
Yes, great film.
Who
Yeah.
plays Two-Face?
It's what's his face? Out of Men in Black.
Will Smith.
No, not Will Smith.
The other one.
What's his name?
I want to say Harvey Keitel, but it's not.
No.
What's his name?
John Travolta.
No, right, we'll find his name.
I
But
can't
yeah,
believe we don't know his name.
why is that?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee
There we
Jones.
go.
There you go.
Tommy Lee Jones.
yeah.
on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Obviously, we won't mention is it Batman?
Batman and Robin, and
Yeah.
that's when it really dipped. And so when I first heard they were going to be doing that, I just thought, nah, you're not going to beat the Tim Burton ones. Why
Yeah.
bother? And then, boy, did they! And they took it in such a darker, more adult direction.
Who played
Yeah.
the best Joker?
Ooh.
Well, I mean,
Well, I actually think, although I think the Jack Nicholson Joker
I
is
love Jack
incredibly
I think Joaquin
iconic,
Phoenix is going to be insane.
I think that Heath Ledger is, till the end of time, always going to be the ultimate Joker.
have you seen the Batmans?
No, not. I saw Batman Begins.
Okay, yeah.
The Christian Bale ones, basically.
Oh,
I've I've not seen it.
They're
So you've seen
good.
the Dark
Batman
Knight and
Begins,
the Dark Knight
Dark
Rises.
Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, because
So you've
Batman
seen Heath
Begins is
Ledger.
Tim Burton.
Oh, is it?
Batman Begins is
No,
So
Batman
who-
Returns is
No,
Tim
I was
Burton.
going to say, yeah.
Batman
who-
Begins was the first
Yes, sorry, yes,
reboot
sorry,
with
yeah,
Bale
Yeah. And I thought
and
that was
Liam
brilliant.
Neeson. So
But I
good.
mean-
great films.
So many different people have played the Joker. So you think Heath Ledger? What
Heath Ledger
what
in
do
a
you think
different
about Joaquin
league.
Phoenix playing?
Mark Hamill. Just going to throw that there. Probably the best Joker
What was he the Joker in?
in the cartoons.
Oh, right.
Fucking great.
What was the guy in the original 60s show as well? He was funny. I think Joaquin Phoenix is one of the greatest actors on earth, so
Yeah.
I'm incredibly
Yeah.
intrigued to see what
Yeah,
he does
and
with it.
Yeah,
you know, everyone says about the Joker's got this curse about sending everyone, like whoever plays it goes a bit wacky or whatever. Like Joaquin Phoenix gets so into his characters, and he's so eccentric and weird in his own way anyway. Like, I wonder what that's done to him playing this cursed part.
What was the film he made where he pretended to be a rapper for an entire year?
Oh, I don't know.
It's directed by Casey Affleck.
Okay.
I think it's maybe called I'm Not Here.
All right, okay.
You need to check it out, and it's basically like a year-long experimental art project, and he goes on chat shows as himself, but as the rapper. He's like, I've quit acting, I'm now a rapper, and it's
wow.
basically like a mockumentary, but it's not funny, it's dark, and it's this in-depth exploration of him giving up one like craft and then going into this hip hop world, but just becoming this cokehead drunk. It's and it's all acting. It's all him just on the edge of the precipice, like beyond the point of no return.
Joaquin Phoenix is
he's committed.
He's a pleasure to watch.
Yeah,
yeah,
He really
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, even like Johnny Cash, Walk the Line was
Amazing. Gladiator,
unbelievable.
as
Yeah.
the evil fucking dude.
Yeah, I
in
watched
that.
one with him recently. I can't remember what it was. It's quite a new film. There was quite an uproar about it not being nominated for more Oscars. Or was it called Will You Be There? Or
I don't know.
again, we don't.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
I'll have a quick look now.
He's a powerhouse. But yeah, the reboots. I mean, for me, it's the horrors, the Halloweens, the Texas Chainsaw Massacres.
Like or don't like.
Dislike with
yeah.
a vengeance.
Again, I think is that though because, like you were saying earlier on, like with a horror film, you've got such if you watch them probably when you was younger, the Halloweens and stuff.
Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the two originals, two of the best, not just horror films, best films ever made, I think.
But I mean, because the reboots, are you just a bit more prepared for it?
No, they're just
You know
never
what I mean?
good. They're just never good. Again, like I like original concepts. So if it's something like The Conjuring, and someone will probably go,
film.
"Now that's a
like
remake,"
Us.
and you didn't know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah. It's about the originality now that filmmaking, writing, and things
Is lacking.
It's lacking.
Yeah.
It is lacking, but things have changed so much that, like, again, it just goes back to the whole. People will want to watch films like Ready Player One. You know, that's more. You know, that's more relatable to real life with the VR stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, is that that is an original, isn't it?
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
It's a book that they've turned into it.
Oh, is it?
Film.
Okay, yeah.
And adaptations, I'm behind all day.
Yeah,
There's never a
yeah.
film that's as good as the book, just because a book, I think, is a superior medium, because
Yeah.
you can get lost in it. You attribute your own imagination to the setting, the characters, everything. So I don't think, even if it's an incredible film like A Clockwork Orange, it's one of my favourite films of all time, but the book's still better.
Yeah.
Books are just better for me than films.
Yeah,
but
and if it gets people into reading more, then all the fucking best for it, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
100%.
What I like is when, like we were saying earlier on, like I know you said, Tomo, kids nowadays, they want CGI, they want explosions and stuff like that. See, I like when, so like, as bad as the last one was, the newer Star Wars.
Don't even get me started on Star Wars.
But what I liked about that is they did what
Good.
they did the opposite in a way of what you, because obviously when the first Star Wars, are you not a fan either?
Not a fan,
really?
No.
So when the first Star Wars came out, obviously in the 70s, early 80s and stuff, all of it was practical. Everything in it was practical. So they didn't really have CGI then. Then when they did the prequels, episode 1, 2 and 3, everything was CGI. Like it was
and
just
they were all
overdone.
terrible, weren't they?
I mean, I like them.
Do you really?
Yeah,
even as like a
controversial.
hardcore Star Wars fan.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people give them slate, but I enjoy them. They were the first ones that I watched as well.
Were they really? Right.
The first one of the prequels came out when I was like 7. I went and watched it at the cinemas. I watched them first, then obviously watched the others. The older ones are better. But the newer ones that they've come out and done with Disney and stuff, what I liked about them is that they did do quite a lot of it practical again, which I love because like going back to like movies, like one of my favourite films growing up was like Gremlins and stuff like that, and there's talks about rebooting Gremlins, which part of me is excited for because I love Gremlins, but then part of me is like they're just going to fucking ruin it
But
with
at the
CGI.
end of the day, it's still going to be there.
What? Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a great point.
Still
That's a
gonna be
great
there.
point.
Yeah, the originals are still there, I guess.
Yeah.
But all the money going to these remakes, I would just like to see, and surely you guys as actors would as well, you'd like to see that money going towards
Good
exciting
Good
original dramas.
Good scripts and stuff. There's nothing
Right.
more frustrating than reading a brilliant script and you being attached to it, or you have your audition or whatever, and then you call your agent a month later and they're like, oh, they ain't got the financing for it. And then, maybe, like
And
you
then
said,
here comes the 8th
here comes fucking-
Texas Chainsaw
here comes
Massacre.
Ready Player 12.
Yeah.
And Judge Rinder and all that shit that's being made, and then your agent's telling you that there's no financing to make these brilliant scripts. And for me, that's one of the most frustrating. I know we touched bases on it in other podcasts, but for me, that's one of the most frustrating things about the industry, that money is being wasted on shit.
And let's be honest, you could make 10 of those films for one of these.
But having said
exactly.
that, again, going back to what people want now. People want to watch Geordie Shore. Not for me, but that's fine.
Yeah.
People want to watch Only Way is Essex. Not for me, that's fine. And that's what people want to see nowadays. So that's what they're going to put the money into.
Yeah, exactly.
I.e. with the scripts that are being remade. A Star Is Born is another one that's already been made twice. now for the third time, people, you know...
I can get behind that. That was a good film,
I thought it was brilliant. I've not seen the
it
original two, but I thought that was amazing. And I thought Bradley Cooper was... Whenever people think about Bradley Cooper, and me as well, I think Hangover. I think of him as this knobhead who's pissed up in Vegas with his mates, when in actual fact you watch American Sniper and you watch...
He's a great actor.
He's
Silver Linings.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, he's amazing. Like
Rocket Raccoon.
And Lady Gaga as well. Lady Gaga was a phenomenal.
She was a revelation, wasn't she?
Amazing. Like, I never... Not that I didn't have respect for her, but I just wasn't bothered about her.
Yeah.
That song, Poker Face, was
music.
all you heard on the radio, and it's like, oh, there's Lady Gaga again.
Wearing a meat dress.
Yeah. But then I walked out of that...
I wonder if she'd get
cinema.
away with that now. She'd probably have a career ended overnight, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
don't know. She's
fascinating.
Lady Gaga, isn't she? I think she can pretty much do what she wants.
Rise
Yeah, but the
above,
internet's
rise
got
above
more
the
power
PC
than-
police.
Yeah.
Right. So
Should we talk about the little event we got going on?
Exactly. You just read my mind.
Love it. Should we have a celebratory biscuit, or is
Let's have a
it just
celebratory
going to be me?
biscuit.
I'm just trying to bring you down to my level.
You've had a load of biscuits. So, I mean, you're pretty much the brains behind it, which is, I mean, why?
Yeah, you've been
obviously-
doing a lot of organising.
Yeah, tell us about the attack of the podcasts.
Buy me one more minute. I've just shoveled a hobnob in.
You've just shoveled the what
That's
in?
what she said. So the big thing for me with podcasts is you don't get live interaction.
Yeah.
And that's what I really miss about working on the radio is you take calls, you'd get listeners on the air, you'd have a chat with them, you play their requests, and it was a very interactive medium. Podcasts are fantastic because, unlike radio, you're free to say whatever you want, waffle on for as long as you want. There's no time constraints, there's no constrictions. But the one thing I miss from doing them is that instant engagement with, fellow passionate people. And I think that people who listen to podcasts are actively engaged in the same sort of stuff, aren't they, as you as a host and your guest, because otherwise they wouldn't sit and listen for an hour to people talk. So about a year ago, after I did the podcast with Dayton from Dirty Sanchez, the response to that was just insane. And I actually just did a nice graphic to celebrate 100 episodes of Life in the Stocks, the end of season 1, and I did the top 20 most downloaded and streamed episodes, and the top 2 are Pritchard and Dayton from Dirty Sanchez, which was nuts. And it showed all three of us how many people out there still have a fondness and a soft spot in their heart for Dirty Sanchez. So we decided, let's go out on tour and basically do live podcasts where I interview you two and we tell all the stories from behind the scenes and give people the chance to kind of get behind the curtain. And so we did about 14 shows over the course of a year all over the UK and Ireland. And they were just brilliant. They were really good fun. We got to meet all the Sanchez fans. And, especially for the guys, after all these years, for them to still see people out there engaging with what they do, I think was like a beautiful moment for them.
Yeah.
And it's just a hell of a lot of fun. So I've done a few more since then. And then I thought, well, rather than just doing it on my own, let's bring in some other podcasts. Because the other thing that I miss, you guys have each other. With me, it's just a very solitary. So I miss collaborating and doing stuff with other people. Obviously, I have my guests, but it's nice to collaborate and reach out to other people doing similar things. So obviously, you've both been on mine, and I love what you guys do on this one. And thank you for having me on. Have you? It's a very much a Marmite drink. I've found people either love it or hate it. That's all good because it looks deceiving. You're not a fan.
No. Go on.
And then the Hardcore Listing guys had me on their show about a year ago. They're obviously part of Pip's Distraction Pieces Network.
Yeah,
and
I've been on there as well. Great show.
on the hardcore one. Yeah. And I just thought, right, I'm going to reach out to you two and those two and pitch the idea of a triple feature live podcast event, sort of like an afternoon matinee style thing, an all-day event. So that's what's happening. So we've got the venue. It's in Islington at the O2 Academy, and we're going to be there on Saturday the 20th of July.
Yeah.
So it's in the summer. Obviously, everybody will be hopefully off school. It's on a Saturday anyway. We'll open the doors at 3, and everybody comes in, and then the idea is I'll do a podcast live on stage. We'll take a short break. Chris and Stu will do a podcast live on stage, take a short break, and then you two get on stage and do a live podcast. And then at the end, we'll all hang out, have pictures with everybody. Hopefully all get some podcast merch ready that we can flog.
Oh, we need to do something like that.
We've all got to get... I haven't got any myself either. And basically just meet the people who listen to our podcast. That's really, without being too much of a hippie, that for me is the main driving force behind doing them, is getting to put faces to names of people that you see on Twitter and Instagram messaging you saying, I love your show. So that's the concept in a rather large nutshell. And I can reveal...
Are you going to
my guest?
Oh, nice.
I'm going to do it. Yeah, my guest is going to be Pancho.
Nice.
from Dirty Sanchez. And Pancho has not yet appeared on my podcast. I've recorded an episode with him, which goes out in 3 weeks' time. And he's just one of the funniest people you could ever hope to meet. As you see him in the show, that is basically, he's not an actor, he's not you two, he's not playing characters. That's him.
So for the people who don't know, Pancho he's
the short one
from Dirty
Sanchez. And if you haven't seen the show, then believe me, you're going to be, I think, ratherly entertained. Obviously, people know the stunts and everything that was on the screen and in the films, but some of the stuff that went on off camera is what I love about those guys is
very Welsh,
incredibly Welsh.
Well, I mean, they are all from Wales, so that'll do it.
And you know how you got bands like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and all these bands that have lived very decadent, hedonistic lifestyles.
Yeah.
All those stories are very much in print and out there. Whereas with these guys, because none of them have books out about them, because the press don't write about what they've done, all these stories are basically untold. So there's like an untapped well of just hilarious, debauched, crazy stories. And I've made a point of leaving off many of the best ones from the podcast that I did with Pancho for our live event. So I would say, check out the episode with him to wet your whistle and then get some tickets and come down. And obviously we still have to be announced Stu and Chris's guest and yourselves as well.
We confirmed ours the other day, didn't we? Which we won't say.
It's locked in.
But it's
awesome.
It's brilliant. I can't wait.
Yeah, man.
I honestly
Can
can't
we have
wait.
a clue? What sort of medium are they in?
God knows.
He's definitely, you can have a clue,
It's
he's
a he.
definitely not a medium. He's
very big.
He'd order off big and tall.
So it's a male and he's fairly sizable.
I mean, he's huge,
Cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to it.
And I'm
But
really
listen,
looking forward to it,
Thanks for inviting us round to your house and
My pleasure.
eating all the biscuits that
My
you
own
offered.
I know, thanks for buying us biscuits and then eating them.
It's basically just so I can indulge my sweet tooth and have an excuse. Do you ever get to the bottom of the topic? Is there ever like a moment where
Do
you
you
go...
not listen?
When we...
I've listened to the Stephen Graham one. But I can't remember whether you decided whether or not at the end.
Yeah.
No, so when we first started, I think the Stephen one as well, probably. So the first, say, 4 episodes, we used to try and change the guest's mind.
Right.
But then, like with the Stephen one, like we just agreed with him. So we're
And
not
it's
really
nice
trying to change
disagreements
minds
as well. Like,
we've
got.
Well, you two almost had a fight. This is an exclusive.
Well, we've got a subject this afternoon. We won't say what it is because we're recording more. Which we earlier on we was thinking like it's such
exactly.
You agreed and I
disagreed.
Not disagreed, but it was kind of we had a bit of a disagreement about it, which I think that's what makes good chat.
Yeah, completely.
So
Yeah, that's it. Because we don't want to come away with anyone. We don't want to say we're right, you're wrong, or whatever.
I'm big, you're small.
Again, we've said this quite a lot on the podcast. Is a lot of our kind of reviews and stuff is like having a chat with your mates down the pub.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what we want. So you can have a chat with your mates down the pub about anything. But.
And you don't need to walk away at the end all on the same page.
Yeah, you don't need to be right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? I think my gran used to say, you can argue about 2 things and never come to the bottom of it, like religion and politics. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. It's like we don't need an answer. We don't need a yes or a no. Let's just have a conversation, I guess. So yeah.
You've made me think about it in a slightly different way, though, Tom, in terms of the audience and their needs and their wants.
Yeah.
But I would like to just see less remakes and more original stories.
Yeah, so would
as
I.
a final thought.
Yeah, and I mean, if you are going to remake any big blockbusters, me and Tomo are available. Hey! Nice one, Matt. Thank you very much.
Fellas.
Again, the end of another episode. I guess the listeners are probably fed up of listening to our voices now. They've probably had it for an hour and 10 minutes.
It went on a bit, yeah. I mean, I think we chatted there for probably around about an hour and 20 minutes.
And towards the end, I'm not kidding you, I thought my bladder was going to blow up.
Would you need
like at one point, I tried putting my hand up to say I need to pause to go and have a piss. My teeth was underwater. Yeah.
I've never heard that. Teeth was underwater.
Yeah, as much as I enjoyed the chat, I would inside I was dying. I really needed to go for a piss.
Yeah, I just felt sorry for Matt. having to eat all them biscuits. He
Yeah.
did a train on them
Yeah,
biscuits,
he nailed
didn't he?
them, didn't he? Yeah.
I mean, fair play.
Yeah,
fair
the only
play.
ones that he didn't nail
Were
were
my
your
ones.
yeah. But I agree with you, those decent biscuits.
They're
to
nice
be fair.
biscuits.
Yeah, I like them, yeah. But
No,
they
that's
was
the
always
name
the
of-
ones that are at the bottom of the tin broken up. You get little bits off.
Yeah, but I like them. I like an underdog story.
You are
Do you know what
talking
I mean?
broken biscuits now.
Yeah, again, another amazing chat. I always so this is our second, third with Jess Ellis, person who makes a podcast as well.
Yeah.
Which because I sit in front of the laptop and the recording gear and stuff. I always find quite nervous because I'm
Yeah.
like I don't know what I'm doing properly, and they
Yeah.
probably do. So we had a bit of an issue, didn't we, when we got there?
A little bit, but that's because you've got a new laptop.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it is, and it was just figuring it out. And I think we've got a dodgy headphone jack.
We've got a dodgy headphone jack. It just went then, which if you heard a bit of like knocking about, it was me trying to get it in. But yeah, great chat. And Matt asked at the end of it as well, like, do you ever come to kind of a resolution? And I sometimes like, I don't think we need to. Like,
No, that was the original plan, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like, we'll go in and try and change our guest mind. But in the end, we was like, actually, it's nice for us to just have a discussion. It don't have to be a game.
yeah, exactly.
You know, we can sit and chat, and especially with people like Matt who are so chatty. And we've been really, really fortunate. There's just a loud motorbike going past.
Listen
there.
to that.
It's London for you, baby. And that's what's so nice about it, is we've been so fortunate enough to have guests who have been so chatty and not reserved.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because what's different about our podcast as well is we don't chat about personal life or chat about work as much. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of just a laid back, sort of chilled chat. That motorbike's
He's
still
just revving outside, and he
Yeah.
wants to be on the podcast. Oh, motorbikes are overrated, mate. Yeah. You know, we're lucky enough that we've not had any really reserved guests.
Oh my god, I'm going to go out there and beat him up.
Let him go. Is he gone?
I don't know.
Sorry, guys. I mean, if you're a motorbike enthusiast, please tweet us what that motorbike was.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we've had some great guests, and Matt was one of them that we again, we don't really know. We've met him once, both us. But we're going to be working again with him in the future. We mentioned in the
Yeah, we
episode
touched it
there
at the end, didn't we? Yeah.
that we've got a live show on the 20th of July. That's a Saturday night, and that's in the O2 in Islington.
Yeah.
So London again. We're not going to say who our guest is.
Not yet.
Just yet.
Yeah.
But we've got a great guest.
Yeah.
And if you are looking for a different kind of night out, a Saturday night, well, it's more of an afternoon thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you are
But
looking
you
for a
can
different
still
way.
get pissed, because I'm probably going to. So,
Yeah, I think there's a bar there and stuff, so you can have a few shandies. But yeah, I mean, please do come and meet us. Come and watch the show live. We've never done a live one before,
No.
so we don't know how it's going to go. It's going to be.
Excuse me, it'll be interesting. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's going to be a different tone, isn't it? Different. Feel.
Yeah, and you never. I suppose we're quite lucky in terms that we don't delve into anything that's quite serious, whereas Matt can.
Yeah.
What Matt Stocks does from Life in the Stocks, he can go quite deep. So it'll be interesting to see how that is with a live audience.
That range.
You know, the guests, emotions might be running high and things. So it's really, really interesting. I mean, ours is probably the more light-hearted one.
I mean, Hardcore Listing's quite sort of light-hearted as well.
Yeah,
so
of course, yeah.
if you don't listen to Hardcore Listing as well, give them a shout. Chris and Stu, they basically you're similar to ours, really. You go on with a subject, but you go on with your top 5 of that subject. So you could do.
Yours was food, wasn't it?
Mine was top 5 shit dinners that are actually
Shit
quite
dinners,
good.
Everything that you cook, then.
Yeah, I remember that time I made you lobster.
Yeah,
but
that's
yes,
what I meant.
So yeah, I mean, we've wrapped it on now. We're up to an hour and a half, so we'll let you get on. Have a good day. Have a good week. Thanks for putting up with us again on this Monday morning.
I hope
or
you all
whenever
enjoyed your
listen to.
Easter weekend.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's Bank Holiday Monday, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
so.
I bet everyone's hanging out their asses.
Yeah. I hope we're their tonic. I hope we're their we're their Lucasade on this Easter Monday. Enjoy your Easter, guys. Don't eat too much chocolate. Peace out.
Peace. 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 Peace.